Everybody, it's Pastor Lloyd from St. Andrew. I hope you're well. I think it's tempting to think that people who are different ages, that if you're young or old, or if you live in the metro or you live rural, if you live in a big city here or you live in California or Oregon or Texas, that your life is holistically different. And I think there are nuances, of course. At the same time, I think if we pay attention to our life and the things that are going on, and then we talk to people who are perhaps older or younger or live in a different phase of life, and we listen, and then we correlate that to our own life, we realize that there's so much that we have in common. We are united in many ways. For instance, this past week, in the span of 3 days, we dropped off our 2 remaining college students, and so now we're empty nesters. And that has its own set of transitions and a whole lot of emotions that go within. Pride, but also missing and realizing that life is different. And so that's a transition. But this past week, as I minister to people, as I talk to people I know and people I get to know, I realize that my wife and I are in a transition, but other people all around us, every single day, every single week, are going through their own transition. And if we listen, we can have a great deal of empathy because we realize that even though the particulars are different, it's still a transition. There's still change. There's still sadness. There's still pain. There's still things you have to work through. And that bonds us together. For instance, we've dropped off 2 kids at college. But talking to somebody who has a child that's in elementary school, and this child was very nervous about going to school. And how would it go? And how would I fit in? Well, that's a transition. It's a transition for that little child. It's a transition for the mom and dad. But then a couple days later, I was talking to somebody and their spouse had died. And there was a transition. And this spouse said, "My dear spouse, with whom I've been married for all these years and all these decades, I'm now grieving this loss, and now I have to live by myself and miss my dear, dear spouse." And I thought, that's a transition as well. And then I met with someone who's my dear, dear friend and well into his 90s, and talked about how even though has good health, the scope of what this person can do has diminished and has to accept and has to adapt to some of the newer challenges of life. And I thought, that's a transition. They're all transitions. They're not all the same. They don't have all the same particulars, but there are the same particular things that we have to struggle through, we have to deal with, we have to be undergirded with prayer, but also we have to realize, and my point is this, that young or middle age or older, here, there, or wherever we are, all of us at any particular time are going through a transition. And it's hard, and we need some kindness, we need some support. One is not necessarily more important. One could say they're all transitions. But as people of faith, we go undergirded with prayer, but also as children of God, as a community of Christ, at St. Andrew and beyond, whether we're at work, home, or play, we live out our faith in daily life. And we realize that people are always in a state of transition. And God can help them, but so can we. And we can receive help from others. Just a thought. Be well. God bless.